Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. We would have had I think a quiz or a test, quote unquote, tomorrow. This review sheet was sort of designed to get you prepared for that implicit differentiation stuff, which is critical for what we're about to go into. And when we get into it over the next few days, you'll see how relevant it is to real world circumstances. But at any rate, the implicit differentiation part has to be pretty well oiled before we get to it. The only one I got on the review sheet over and over again was number 12. So I'm going to jump into this. They want the second derivative. So x cubed plus y cubed equals 1 is the function. 3x squared dx, don't need it, plus 3y squared dy dx equals 0. So the first derivative is pretty straightforward. I'll subtract this over, and then I'll divide this over. So dy over dx will equal negative 3x squared divided by 3y squared. Dy dx will equal negative x squared over y squared. So now when I hustle up here to do the second derivative, I'm going to need a quotient rule. So the second derivative, dy over dx squared, equals the bottom times the derivative of the top, negative 2x dx, don't need it, minus my top times derivative of the bottom, 2y dy dx, all over the bottom, y squared squared, which will turn into y to the fourth. So we get negative 2x y squared. I can make that a plus 2x squared y, that's 2x squared y, and the dy dx, I'm going to use that all over y to the fourth. This y is going to cancel with one of those, but then I'm going to need to clear the complexity of the fraction. So with that cancellation, my mini denominator is just a y. So I'm going to multiply the top. Now the top is a binomial, first term plus a second term. I'm going to multiply by the top by y and the bottom by y. So on the distribution here, that's going to make it negative 2xy cubed. And on the distribution here, it's just going to cancel. Plus, or actually it's going to be a minus because of that negative here. Negative 2x to the fourth over y to the fifth. So if I'm looking at my options, nothing is a dead ringer. Negative, this one's close, although mine is a negated version of that. So here we would look for another way to kind of simplify this, maybe substitute something out. So if I look at my top two terms as far as factoring, I can factor out a negative 2x. And that's going to leave me with y cubed plus x to the third. And if you look back at the original function, x cubed plus y cubed is equivalent to 1. So this is just going to be 1. And we're going to be left with negative 2x over y to the fifth. We don't see that very often where they'll go back and find a way to simplify further based on the initial equation. But anytime something equals something else, there's a nice opportunity there to make that look a heck of a lot simpler, and that matches up with D. So a couple other people had specific questions, and I'll take a look at those separately. But this was the one that came up over and over again, and I am willing to bet it was realizing that that is just able to be replaced by a 1. So stay well. Have a great Friday and weekend. Sorry about the weather. No one is more bummed about it than Mrs. Rahal, who is going to be trapped inside or going to have to suffer in the freezing cold with the children. So, anyway, I digress. We'll talk soon, and let me know if there's anything else.